Om Sam Saraswati Namaha. Namaste. Namaste, everyone. This evening on page 63 of the Kashyapa Sutras, we're going to begin this discussion of Sutra number 10. And remember, this is in the book called Shrima, the Guru and the Goddess. And this Sutra number 10 says, Joyatvam Dukkha Hetu. And Joyatvam means victory. And dukkha means pain, and hetu means destruction. So victory destroys pain. Victory brings about the destruction of all pain. Whenever we move beyond those ripus and we destroy those ripus, those limitations we discussed last night, Kam, Krodha, Lobha, Moda and Matsara. Whenever we go beyond those 6 limitations, we go beyond all pain. They are the ones that give us so much pain. Oh, victory destroys pain, and the question we need to ask is, a victory over what destroys which pain? And anytime we go to battle and seek victory, it is because we desire something. Wherever we are in want, there is pain. If I'm wanting something, I'm needing something, I'm lacking something, I feel some pain. And so it is a universal principle that victory destroys the sense of lack, the sense of paucity, the sense that we are requiring to add something more. I have a desire which is unfulfilled, and victory destroys pain. Desire causes pain. Victory over desire destroys the pain. So, according to Kashyapa, we are seeking the highest victory in order to destroy the pain of desire. Victory destroys pain. And the highest victory destroys the greatest pain, the feeling that we are separate. So when we unite, we're no longer in the pain of individuality. We're no longer feeling the pain of separation. The greatest victory is victory over the ego, and that which defines individuality. Now, remember, when we talk about ego, we're not talking about being the great egotist. We're talking about ego means I in relationship to you, which is different from I. So even the very sense that I am and you are means I have an ego. The very sense that I am is ego. And if I am a great man or a great fool or a great anything, then I am an egotist. And the egotistical thought is all the adjectives about me, but the ego is that I am separate. Cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. Oh, remember, don't confuse having ego with being a great egotist. Although every egotist has an ego. Not all ego is egotistical. Because it's not all about self-aggrandizement. Even the sense that I am different from you is ego. And that's how we are using the term. So, ahamkar makes vyakti, ego makes individuality. Ahamkar is ego. Vyakti is the individual form, or the individual root, or the sense of separation. If we have victory over our ego, we destroy pain and separation. And because we become one with Satchit Ananda, that universal consciousness, the truth of pure, infinite consciousness is bliss. Wherever there is desire, there is pain. And the greatest pain is the feeling of separation. And the greatest desire is to realize that we are one with God. So victory gives pain over gives victory over pain. Victory brings the destruction of all pain. When I have victory over the ego, all the pain is destroyed.
Why?
Why? If I can subdue my ego and subdue my attachments, then who is feeling pain?
But if you get victory, why you feel that?
If I have victory, I won't feel pain.
Good.
Yeah. Victory destroys the pain.
Yeah.
And victory over the ego destroys all the pain of ego and attachment.
Yeah.
It destroys all the pain of desire, which is not fulfilled. All unfulfilled desire gives me pain. I want it.
Yeah.
And I'm not full and complete and perfect until I fulfill my desire. I'm in pain. And victory destroys the pain. Isn't that cool? Very good, Mom. Now,
Whatever.
Hetu also means motivation. The cause or the reason for. That is, pain is the motivation for seeking victory. I'm in pain. I feel separate from God, and therefore I'm seeking victory over the ego so I can transcend this separation and transcend this feeling of difference and unite it, and then put a cessation to all pain. So pain is the motivation for seeking victory, and the cause of the spiritual search is the pain caused by worldly separation or attachment. So the pain motivates us to find an end to pain. And ultimately we realize the only end to pain is victory. I must seek victory over this little ego and its small attachments. And in doing so, I can put an end to pain. Otherwise, I may fulfill that desire, but I'm still not satisfied. I may fulfill that desire, I'm still not satisfied. The motivation of pain urges me on to victory. Jaya means birth, which is understandably a victory over death. Joy. So Jaya is the causative, and Jaya means birth, and joy means victory. And accordingly, pain is the cause of birth. All birth occurs in order to bring about the cessation of pain. We've got prarabdha karma, unfinished issues from the past that are coming to fruition right now, and that now is giving birth to the desire to terminate all the pain. So therefore, the victory is giving birth to the cessation of pain. I can take action today, right now, in this lifetime, at this moment, to end all of those unfulfilled desires, all of those vasanas that followed me from birth to birth to birth. They said, okay, now you're going to take birth in this kind of an environment with this kind of nurturing to push you in this kind of direction. What did your parents want you to become, Srima?
My parents?
Yeah. A lawyer! And she began practicing universal law. Whoever thought she would become the mother of the universe? Her parents made her study economics and law, and my goodness. So Jaya is the birth, and in all those vasanas, she took birth in a family that cultured her and nurtured her and conditioned her to become something that they thought would be appropriate for her. And then she transcended that. She used that education as the foundation upon which to build her spiritual practices and to transcend.
Sorry, once time they took me for job interview,
A job interview?
Job interview.
Okay.
my fourth jogging time, you know. And typing, I was doing typing, I became a samadhi.
Oh, that'll do it. Unfit for work.
They say it is not her place.
Yeah, it's probably, they were right. Just like your predecessor, Ram Prasad, they took him to the king and they made him an accountant and he wrote in the ledger, ma, ma, ma. And the king came and to look at the ledger, he said, oh my God, I can't have a man like this doing my accounts. You go home and write poetry and sing songs for the rest of your life. I'll pay you to stay away. Srima was very, just like her predecessor, runs in the family, huh? You've got the magical gift to avoid work. Just go on the job interview and go into samadhi while you're supposed to be typing. Very good. So, Jaya means birth, and we're going to give, birth is the victory over death, and we're going to, pain is the cause of the birth, because all the birth comes because of unfulfilled desires and vasanas and prarabdha karma, all the old karma that makes us come back into manifested existence. That's our motivation to fulfill that karma, to expunge that karma, to clean it up, not to go back and lift up every carpet under which we swept the dust and go get the dust that we swept and actually sweep it up and take it outside and throw it out. All birth occurs in order to bring about the cessation of pain. This is in harmony with our first principle, prarabdha vashat janma. All birth takes place because of unfinished business, incomplete desires. Then it follows that all unfinished business is a source of pain, of incompleteness. If you've got prarabdha karma outstanding, we can't sit in peace. How are you going to sit in the bliss of oneness with God? Ba can do it. She's typing and she goes into samadhi. Ram Prasad can do it. He's doing the accounting and he goes into a samadhi and he writes ma, ma, ma on the ledger. But you and I, we've got all these unfinished desires, all this unfinished business, all these tendencies and proclivities which cause us to manifest again and again in certain modes of behavior so we can finish the old business, so we have no more old business. And therefore, this pain motivates the birth of action, the birth of every moment. We are motivated by the pain of incompleteness, of unfulfilledness, of dissatisfaction. And that's what motivates us to seek the victory. And we continue to churn until we can find the right application of our energies and resources so that we put an end to all that old karma, all the old sources of pain. Now, hiti is a weapon. The pursuit of victory is the weapon against pain. Look at how many different ways we can understand Kashyap's Sutra. The pursuit of victory is the weapon by which we can conquer the pain. Of course, if you're not pursuing victory, how are you going to conquer? How are you going to win? If you don't have a definition of the goal, then you're not going to win. It just can't happen if you let life happen to you. We must take control. We must pursue the path of victory over the old desires and the old karma so it doesn't come back to haunt us again. The pursuit of victory over the pain of separation is accomplished by attentiveness and communion. Union destroys the pain of separation. ठीक है? You understand? Smashdown. Thank you. Well, Ma tells a story. Once upon a time, a great hawk picked up a little baby mouse in its beak and flew up into the sky. As the bird rose up into the air, a gust of wind startled him, and the little baby mouse fell from his mouth. Just then, a sadhu was standing by the bank of the river praying before taking his bath. The palms of his hands were open, signifying acceptance of God's grace through prayer. As he was reciting his mantras, the little mouse fell right into his hands. If I leave this little mouse on the bank of the river, he thought, then that hawk might return and take her again. I have an idea. I'll turn this mouse into a little girl and take her home for my wife to raise. Thinking thus, he transformed the little mouse into a baby girl by his yogic powers and brought her home to his wife. His wife was so pleased to have a child, and she fed the child and raised her as her own daughter. When the child grew up to be of marriageable age, the wife said, "Husband, our daughter is going to be of marriageable age, and it's time we find her a suitable spouse." And the sadhu agreed, and taking his daughter, he went off to find the bridegroom of her choice. First, they went to the sun. "Would you like to have the sun as your husband?" asked the father. "Oh no, father, he's too hot. Isn't there someone greater than him?" "Yes," said the sun. "The cloud can hide me whenever he likes. He is superior." They went to the cloud. "Would you like to marry the cloud?" "No, father, he is dark and cold. Please find someone else for me." "O cloud," asked the sadhu, "is there someone better than you?" "Yes, there is," replied the cloud. "The wind. He blows me about as he pleases." "Daughter, would you like to marry the wind?" "Oh, father, he's so restless." "Please choose someone else." "Wind," asked the sadhu, "is there someone who is more steady than you?" "Certainly," the wind replied. "The mountain. He never moves. Try as I might, I can never push him around." "Daughter, would you like to marry the mountain?" "Father, please no. He is so coarse and lifeless. Please find someone more lively." "Oh, mountain, can you suggest someone more suitable to be the husband of my daughter?" "Of course I can. The king of the mice. He is the liveliest creature I've ever seen." Seeing the king of the mice, the daughter exclaimed with delight, "Father, he's the one I want to marry. Please turn me into a mouse so I can be with my beloved." Then, using his yogic power, he turned his daughter into a little mouse and, with the greatest satisfaction, witnessed her marriage to the man of her dreams. Union is the weapon against the pain of separation. My beloved family, be true to your nature. Om Sam Saraswati Namaha. Let's see if there are any questions.
We have a question from Sadhana Shakti.
Namaste Sadhana.
Pranam. I realize that if we didn't have ego, we would cease to be an individual. However, can we use the ego to our advantage? Is this even possible?
Yes. Shivo aham. Aham Ramashmi. Do you know so many people teach and preach and talk about the necessity to get rid of the ego? We don't believe you can. In fact, Brahma gave the great ego the boon that only the mother of the universe can take away the great ego. So our tactics are a little bit different. We have the strategy of expanding the ego. Instead of being this little ego I, we want to make it a greater ego and a greater ego and a greater ego until Aham Brahmasmi.
Become big.
You become the big ego. You become the Maha Aham. You become Brahma. And that is Brahmagyan. You don't get rid of the ego, you expand the identification of the ego. Shiva Aham. I am Shiva. And the way to do this is through the sadhana of cutting down the ripus. All the limitations of the little ego. Kam, Krodha, Lobha, Moda, Matsara, anger, desire, Kam, Krodha, desire, anger, Krodha, Lobha, greed, Moha, delusion or the ignorance of egotistical attachment. Moha, just plain ignorance, Matsara, jealousy. If I can get rid of these 6 limitations, I can take this little ego and make him into a great, great, great big ego until he becomes Aham Brahmasmi. I am the supreme divinity. Ekoivaham jagat yatra dvitiyanga dhamapara. There is only one, and there's not 2. And here I am as the one. And that is, you didn't get rid of the ego, you expanded the identification of the ego until I am one with God. That was the procedure sadhana. You didn't really, I'm going to kill my ego now. No. No. It didn't happen. We don't have the power to cut down the ego. We have the power to pray to Mother to take this ego and take the ego in her hand and hold it there. And so long as the ego stays in her hand, the worshiper is free from ego. But then our prayer has to be, Mom, please don't give it back. Don't give it back at the end of this puja. You just keep it there. And Mother says, okay, I will. I'll keep it here as long as you sit there. I will keep the ego here. Jabo twang pujayishami, tabo twang shuspira baba. Just as long as I am praying to you and worshiping you, just so long you sit still. It works the other way. I'll keep your ego with me just as long as you don't get up from that asana. And that's why we try to expand the asana and expand the worship and expand the intensity of the focus and the absorption and the concentration so that we unite and can stay there for long periods of time. Longer and longer periods of time, so that I is no longer a reference to this individual vyakti, the individual form. This particular container is not I. I refers to the soul within. I refers to Shiva.
So long as we're doing the puja, she'll hold our ego. But after the puja, is our ego different because she was holding it?
It may be. If you look her in the eye and speak to her from your heart and understand that what I'm trying to do with the greatest intensity of devotion of which we are capable is to remove any distance between her and me, yeah, she can take the ego away. And generally, when she gives it back to us, it's not the same. The validity of any spiritual experience is the change that it makes in the life of the person who had the experience. If you really had an experience, you wouldn't sit in the kitchen talking about samadhi. you'd sit in the temple experiencing it. You wouldn't sit in the hotel or in the restaurant or in the bar talking about all the gurus of the world. You would sit in the temple and experience. You wouldn't talk from a book, you'd talk from your heart. You wouldn't do puja from the book, you'd do it from your soul. Things will change. You probably even change your occupation. You'll change your hobbies. You'll change your friends. All the old friends will say, oh my God, he's gone off the deep end. I don't want anything more to do with that guy. All he does is think about God. Oh God. Life will change when we have a spiritual experience. We'll go to our workplaces and we'll write Ma, Ma, Ma in the ledger, and we'll sit and type and go into samadhi. We'll just be so full of juice and so full of love that we do everything that we do with the greatest of love and the greatest of intensity. Every one of your customers, sadhana, will come to you and, what happened? What have you been drinking? Whatever it is, I want some of that Kool-Aid. That will be the validity of our experience will come about as a consequence of the change in our behavior. Everyone will see it. You cannot hide it. You can't fake it either. So it's got to be real. Everybody can see if it's real. They all know that you'll be busted in an instant if you try to put it on. But you won't be able to conceal it either. The validity of any spiritual experience is the change that it will make. And when you sit there at the altar and you really have communion with her, it will change your life. It will change everything about your life. You won't even know what hit you. It'll change your desire. It will change your goals. It'll change your friends. It'll change your environment. It'll change your association. It'll change your life. The bhavana with which you do what you do. The attitude, it exudes love. You have a good time. Whatever it is, chopping wood and carrying water, washing dishes and sweeping the floor, it changes the way you do what you do. So you want to do more. I'm never satisfied with what I've done. I've got to do more. It's my privilege to show my love. It's not my obligation. Nobody tells Ma every day, you got to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and cook piles of food for everybody in your family. Nobody says, it's just her. She wakes up on her own. And she's got to do the cooking, and she's got to feed her children, and she's got to nourish them, she's got to give them her love, because it's her expression of love. Nobody pays her to do it. I can't even keep the groceries there so that she can keep making the food. We send someone to the market every other day. Bring more food. Mom wants to cook for her devotees, for her children. So it's just a change that comes about in her swabhav, in her intrinsic nature. It comes from within, that she is called upon to express her experience of unity by nurturing her family like a mother to her children. It's natural to her. It's the intrinsic nature of a mother. Kids can be bad and mess up all the time, but moms don't. Moms are always thinking about their kids. And when it becomes the experience and the reality of your life, then it's the natural evolution, it's the natural expression to be thinking about her children. What can I do to nurture the children that come to me? So it will change your life. The experience will change your life. And it'll change everything about you. When you start having desires to sit in samadhi, all your old playmates will say, hey, he's no fun. That guy doesn't want to go out and play with us. He doesn't like these games anymore. Sex and drugs and rock and roll is no longer exciting to him. What kind of guy is he? He's going to sit up on a mountaintop and watch his breath go in and out, in and out. How long can we do that? About 2 minutes. So let's drop him off and we'll go out and party. We'll come back and pick him up, and that'll be the end of our friendship. The friends just drop away. They just change because Guru Bina Guru Bandunai. Nai Re. There is no friend like the Guru. The Guru is going to be with you through the evolution of your spiritual path. And that'll be the friendship that you will automatically be drawn to, just like the Loha Chumba. Okay. The metal is automatically drawn to the magnet. The devotee is automatically drawn to a pure Guru who exemplifies that love and joy in everything she does. It's the intrinsic nature of the relationship of Guru and devotee. A Bhakt and Bhagwan, the devotee and the Supreme Divinity is like a relation between the iron and the magnet. You can't hide it. You can try. Yes, please.
So what happens to the small ego when you go into that bigger ego? Does it dissolve completely, or?
It never dissolves completely. You always have some vesti, some sanskara, some tendency to manifest in a certain way, and a way of talk, and a way of walk, and a way of functioning, and attributes that you picked up from your childhood conditioning. Srima is still an advocate. Even though she never practiced in the court, she defeats me in every argument that we ever have. She just says, no. Oh yeah, what more can I say? She is not only the advocate, she's the judge, and she's the jury, and she's the enforcement agency as well. She really learned the law. I am laying down the law. So all those attributes of your childhood, of your many lifetimes accumulation, will move with you, but they are in the background, they're not in the foreground. You don't have to go to work every day and plead in the court to save that guy. You can plead for God's law. You can use your skills and talents. Once you have them, you can use them for yourself, or you can use them on behalf of your community, on behalf of your society, on behalf of your extended family. One thing, when you have a talent or a skill, you are empowered. It's your choice. You can sell that skill if you need the money. Or you can give it away if you don't. You can use your skills and talents for the benefit of others and accept what comes. That might be a beautiful way to do it as well. Or you can say, well, I need this much money, and I'm going to sell my skills, and I'm going to sell my talents until I raise that amount of money, and now I'm free and clear, and I'm a free agent, I'm independent, and I'll give away the rest until I might need some more. And if I need more, I'll go back to working for money, and right now I don't need, so I can just give it away. You might find, as I did, giving it away makes you so much more prosperous than selling it. Because if you sell it, you get the amount that you asked for, or something close to it, depending on how good a negotiator you are. But if you give it away, you just get rewards out of this world. You can't count the rewards. So it's your choice. Our goal is to empower each of you to make your own choices, not to make the choices for you.
We have a question.
Yes, Parvati?
Okay, until we get to that union, victory over the
Over pain?
yeah, we have little victories along the way. Can we consider each of those like as to monitor ourselves to see if we're making progress based on our reaction to different situations, whether, putting a stimulus before our response, if we can remain centered in equilibrium as like a victory?
Not necessarily, Parvati. The reason being is, in one circumstance, I may be successful in putting the interlude between the stimulus and the response. But that doesn't say I've had a victory for all time. Do you remember the story of Narad Muni? Shiva and Parvati were having a very special time together in the special forest. Parvati said, Shiva, what if somebody comes into the forest and interrupts our privacy? And Shiva said, I'm going to put a blessing on this forest that anyone who enters here no one will be subject to lust or to desire. Therefore, anyone who comes and sees us, they'll just be free from desire. Well, that's going to be the blessing I put on this forest. Shiva and Parvati departed. Unknowingly, Narad Muni went to meditate in that forest. And he started to meditate. And he was going deeper and deeper. And Indra looked down from heaven and said, oh my God, Narad Muni is trying to take over the throne of heaven. He's meditating with such intensity. Everyone go down and try and disturb him. So he sent the wind and who blew, and he couldn't blow Narad away. And he sent the Varuna and made it rain, and he couldn't wash Narad away. And then he sent the fire, and he made a fire, and he couldn't scare Narad away. And then he said, okay, Kamdev, you are the god of love. Go make Narad fall in love. And Kamdev went down to this forest, which had been blessed by Shiva, and that anyone who sat and meditated in the forest would be free from all attachment. And Kamdev tried as hard as he could, and he couldn't make Narad fall in love. And so he went away too. And all the gods admitted defeat. No one was stronger than Narad's meditation. Narad completed his meditation and he was ecstatic with delight. I had a victory. I defeated all the gods. And he went immediately to Vaikuntha. He said, Vishnu, I just defeated Kamdev. The god of love couldn't make me fall in love. None of the gods. Agni tried to burn me. He couldn't. Varuna tried to wash me away. He couldn't. Vayu tried to blow me away. He couldn't. I defeated all the gods and I defeated the god of love, the strongest and most powerful of all the gods. Vishnu said, that's great, Narad. But don't ever say that in front of Shiva. Well, Narad went around the world and he went boasting to everybody he could tell. He sat in the kitchen of the Devi Mandir and said, look at me, I just had this wonderful experience. I defeated the god of love. And all the devotees in the Devi Mandir kitchens, oh my God, that's a great experience. Which guru gave you the mantras by which you could defeat the god of love? And as it would happen, Narad went to Kailas and he said, Shiva, I just had the most wonderful experience. And Shiva said, you are radiant. You are glowing with light. What experience did you have? Tell me about it. It must have been a life-changing experience. And Narad said, I went to meditate in the forest, and all the gods tried to make me get up from my meditation. Even the god of love came and tried to seduce me to the dark side, but no one could make me stop my meditation. I defeated the god of love. And Shiva said, Narad, I bow to you. You are certainly a Dev Rishi. You are a seer among the gods. You are the strongest amongst the gods. I am sure that you are absolutely the most attained being who has ever come to Kailash. I bow to you. You have my eternal respect. Narad was full of elation. He was so happy, and he went tripping over and touring around the world. And one day he looked down and he saw a princess playing in a garden. And she was the most beautiful princess. And he went down to that princess and he said, oh, hello, Miss Princess, who are you? And she said, my name is Vishwamohini. I am the delusion of the world. And Narad said, you certainly are. She said, come and meet my father. And Narad said, I would love nothing to better than to meet your father. And so the father saw Narad Muni coming into the palace with his daughter, and he said, Narad Muni came to visit us. Would you please, I want to give my daughter away in marriage, and I'm giving her Swayamvar. She gets to choose her own husband even tomorrow. Is the ceremony. Please look at her palm and tell me what kind of husband she will get. And Narad took the hand of the princess into his own hand, and he started to look at the lines, and he saw the guy who marries this girl, this Vishwamohini, is going to be Trilokinath. He'll be the Lord of the three worlds. This lady has so much Shakti. Whoever marries her is going to have attainment on every level of consciousness. He will become the Lord of the three worlds. And he said, oh, your daughter's going to be very happy, O king. It'll be a very nice ceremony. And he went immediately, took his leave, and went to Vaikuntha. And he went to Vishnu's house. He said, Vishnu, I just saw the love of my life. She is the most wonderful woman I ever saw, and her Swayamvar, her marriage ceremony, is going to take place tomorrow. Would you please give me the most distinctive form so that she'll see me and fall in love immediately? Give me the most lovable form, the most wonderful, exceptional, extraordinary form of all the kings and princes who will come as suitors for the hand of this princess. I really want to marry this lady. And Vishnu said, Tatastu, I'll give you the most distinctive form that you can imagine. And he dressed Narad in golden embroidered silks and satin and jewels and gems and a golden crown, and made him with the face of a monkey. And Narad went to the Swayamvar ceremony, and he didn't know he had the face of a monkey. And he sat down amongst all the princes and kings and knew he had the most distinctive appearance of all the suitors for the princess's hand in marriage. And the princess took the garland of victory. And she looked into the face of every one of the princes. And she looked at Narad Muni and she smiled. And then she went on. And he said, wait a minute. I have the most distinctive personality. I have the most beautiful appearance. Look at my gold and my embroidery and my golden crown. And look at me. My form is the most beautiful form of them all. And the princess laughed. And she moved on. And then she gave the garland to Vishnu. And she married with Vishnu. And Narad said, you fool! You dodo head! You dummy! What do you mean you're giving the garland to someone else? I have the boon from Vishnu. I will have the most distinctive, the most unique characteristics of all the princes and all the kings that ever assembled here. And two servants came and said, excuse me, sir, do you know what you look like? He said, yes, I know what I look like. Vishnu promised me I would have the most unique appearance of all the people who come. They said, please, come and look into this pot of water and see your reflection. And Narad looked into the water. And he saw he had the face of a monkey. And he got mad. He said, that Vishnu, he tricked me. That Vishnu, he made me into a monkey. I asked him to be the most beautiful amongst all the princes, all the kings. I had the most gold and the most jewels and the most gems and the most silks and satin and the best of the appearances. And he turned me into a monkey. I curse you, Vishnu. You will come down to the earth and you will be separate from your beloved. And you will have to call upon monkeys to come and get her back. Well, Vishnu heard the curse and he smiled. And Narad suddenly remembered that he was Narad Muni and he had just defeated the god of love and he had given up all of his attachments and he was free from all the pain of separation and he had had a victory over all the gods and he defeated the god of love. And he said, uh-oh. No one defeats the god of love. Shiva got the boon. He can defeat the god of love because he saw Mohini of his own desire. But all the rest will be subject to desire and they will see Mohini. So just because you think that you had a victory, do not proclaim it very loudly. Get out of the kitchen. Don't go to the kitchen and tell everybody, oh, I just defeated God of love. I just defeated all my desires. I had a small victory. Look at me. You lost as soon as you opened your mouth. You lost. The victory dissolves as soon as you proclaim yourself victorious. Be careful. Stay out of the kitchen of the Devi Mandir. Go there and eat and clean and shut up.
We have a question from Ambika.
Yes, Ambika, namaste.
Do we need to know the details of our prabdha and present karma in order to complete it? Or do we need to focus on living our life with the goal of God and victory over pain?
Oh, you've got it in their second response. The second option is the one we want. Ambika, as much as we dwell on the past and what happened then and what was there and what is the cause of all of my suffering today and why am I experiencing this undesirable outcome? We are bound to the negative and we are bound to the past and we're constantly making jop and reinforcement of the negative attributes and the qualities that we don't want to, where we do not wish to dwell. So the one saving grace, the one upai, the one method of attainment is to focus our attention in the present upon all the positive qualities so that there's no room to contemplate the negative. They will go away of their own accord. It's just like the peddlers and solicitors who come up to the door of the Devi Mandir. They knock on the door and nobody's home. And after a while of knocking and shouting and calling, they go away. In the same way, if you sit at your altar and think about the mantra and think about the God and think about the communion and the meaning and the method and the bhavana and the feeling and the commitment, the sincerity and the love and the joy and the communion with God, all the negative thoughts will go away. They will leave. They exit at the appropriate time. So you want, as much as you are capable, empower yourself. Say yourself, I'm sitting here with God, and what do I need to think about? What caused me the pain way back when? Why don't I just enjoy this present communion? Why don't I just enjoy this moment of stillness and silence where I get to be in the Sat Chit Ananda, the bliss of infinite consciousness. Om Sat Chit Ekam Brahma. There's no duality. What do I care about the prarabdha karma? What caused me to get here? I'm here. It's a good place with good people doing good things. Thank you, God.
We have a question from Vish, still in LA.
Namaste, Vish, still in LA.
If we are born with a disability and are prone to getting completely overshadowed by the events of the world, is there still hope for us?
Absolutely. All of us have disabilities of one kind or another. Some of us have a physical disability, others are mentally impaired. You'll excuse me. Others, all of us have a disability of one kind or another. Some of us excel in some subjects or some talents, some skills. Others excel in other skills and talents. I personally have no musical ability, or I have no mathematical ability, or I have no capacity to program a computer. Every one of us has skills and talents and attributes that are to be accented and excelled. And others, we have disabilities. We can't learn those things, but we can learn other things. And each one of us can make our contribution according to our own capacities. And all of us cannot make the same contribution. So who's going to call me disabled? Just because I can't make the contribution that you want right now from me, does that make me disabled? Or maybe you should change your desire and look at me as a whole person. And I will contribute according to my capacities, according to my perception, according to my understanding. And that makes you disabled. So who's the judge as to who is disabled and who is not? If I'm not normal, that may be a very good thing. That may be a very good thing that I don't have the normal frame of mind or the normal temperament or the normal desires or the normal code of behavior or the normal ethics or the normal desire to aggrandize myself, to make myself bigger and better than I actually am. Maybe that abnormality is what will bring me closer to God.
We have a question from Srini.
Namaste, Srini Baba.
When we are ignorant about all the consequences of our actions, how can we employ discrimination to make choices?
Well, let's take the criteria that we do have available. Now, granted, we do not have the entire picture. I don't know the complete outcome of every avenue of effort. But I can take the probable consequences of my actions and put that into the criteria by which I discriminate as to which path will bring me to a greater fulfillment and which path is going to deplete me unnecessarily. Let's use our discrimination according to our capacities. Even if I don't have the full, complete, and perfect picture, well, if I do that, this is the exact outcome that I will receive. If I knew that, I wouldn't ask you for market prognostications. I wouldn't ask you to predict which shares are going to go up and which shares are going to go down. If I had all the criteria, I'd know exactly when to buy and exactly when to sell, and I wouldn't have to sit in my office all night thinking about it. In the same way, if you don't know the full criteria, you don't know the complete outcome of your actions, well, you know the probabilities. You can see the probabilities if I go this way or if I go that way. These are the probable outcomes of my actions. And that should be sufficient for us to make a determination, which path do I want to take.
We have a question from Rosie.
Namaste, Rosie Ma.
Namaste. When we are desiring lesser things and feeling pain for those lesser things, like missing people who have died, can we remind ourselves of the true desires for union, the highest desires for union with God? Is that a good way to handle those lesser desires?
Absolutely, Rosie. We'll make them bigger and better. Just like we make the ego bigger and better, we make it Shiva. I am Shiva. I'm not really worried about my attachment to one individual or one situation or one circumstance in life. Let me attach myself to Guru and God and to the deities and the divinities and to the Sat Chit Ananda. Let me cultivate new attachments, and I'm missing my sadhana. I want to expand it. I want to expand my concept of who I am, and I'm going to do that by studying, by shravanam, mananam, nididhasanam. I'm going to hear and contemplate and deeply intuit bhavaed, this bhavana, this feeling, this intensity of reality, Rosie. I'm going to make it bigger and better and brighter and stronger until it encompasses all of my creation. Then I will never know loneliness. I will relish being alone. Because when I'm alone but not lonely, I get the opportunity to cultivate that relationship with the supreme divinity that I would not otherwise have the opportunity to pursue. I am afforded the privilege of cultivating the relationship with wisdom, with love, with knowledge, with joy, with Sat Chit Ananda. I can spend the time at the altar designing my own roadmap. How did I go to God? And why did God want to accept me? When everybody else in the world is saying, I'd like to go to God too. Why would he choose you, Rosie? Well, I can only think of a couple of reasons. The intensity of your sincerity and the privilege that you express in your devotion to God. By intense devotion and a sense of privilege, you're saying to God, I'm worthy of being chosen. And all our other friends are saying, okay, that's enough of that. Stop putting the flowers at the altar. Come with us and party. There are so many other things. Live a little. And our concept of living a little is expanding the scope of our interaction with divinity to become in greater communion with God. So yes, you will dismiss the lower attachments, the smaller attachments, or make them bigger and bigger and bigger until they merge with God and you merge with them and you're all one in God. Om Sam Saraswati Namaha. Namaste.